We're talking about progression and a basic exercise to begin the progression of where do I go once I have my intake? Where do I go once I finish my ankle mobility? Now I got a good place to start with some lower body stuff is I want to get into the squat. And everybody's squat is different. So you don't have to necessarily be with your feet facing straight ahead, narrow base. It has to be something that fits your assessment. What does your ankle mobility look like? What does your hip mobility look like? If your ankle mobility is still
so we talked a little about this yesterday, right? So
yeah,
when we looked at the hip positioning, and we kind of recognized that the legs can be a little bit further out, they can be a little bit in. There's no hard and fast rule about where it should be.
Yes.
So the one thing we do want to make sure is that our kneecap tracking is in place so we don't put a lot of pressure into the actual knee itself. So this is why the ankle mobility is so important, because it has a huge impact on where the tibia is in space.
Yes.
And if the tibia is rotating off axis relative to the femur, then this is where you're going to get your patella femoral syndromes and stuff coming on. So this is why the ankle, before we do squats, we have to make sure the ankle is doing really well. So Carlos, you can take it away and show us a little bit more about the squat.
Your squat is your low level, before you get into a pistol squat or a rear foot elevated split squat. It's your base, right? It's what you first learn as a kid. So going back to, if I don't have requisite ankle mobility, I can put myself up on a half a foam roller. I can put myself up on bob. I can put myself up on some weight plates, and that takes the ankle mobility issue out of it if I still want to squat, because then I can get into a deep squat, not have to worry about my ankle mobility. If I have my ankle mobility, then I start with my deep squat with what's my position that I like? What is my hip mobility like? My feet, again, don't have to be straight ahead. There's no rule about my feet have to be in this place. It is, what is your anatomy like? What is your anatomy? How does the squat fit your anatomy? Does it look like I can squat with a good spine, with a good hip? Does it look solid enough where ribs stay over pelvis? I'm not going into a lot of pelvic dump. I'm not leaning way forward on the ball of my foot. That's pretty much where your squat should be once you clear up the ankle and hip mobility.